Hi, I'm Jason Tabb, and this is my wife Vicki Tabb, and we're the founders of Hope's Haven Camp.
Hope's Haven is a camp for abused and neglected children who are or have been wards of the court. So they're either in foster care, group homes, or have been adopted. Hope's Haven came to be and was inspired by my own childhood. I had a very rough, dysfunctional childhood and was very broken as a young teenager and early adulthood. Spent a lot of time going to all kinds of people and therapists for help, and I could not seem to relieve the brokenness in my heart. And then I met Jesus Christ, and the healing and the relief from shame, the relief from the guilt, being discovery of who I am in Christ and having a new identity, so that I didn't really identify so much with the hurt, the brokenness, the pain of the past, and it began to create a whole new life for me and a whole lot of new possibilities. And it's been a great journey, and I know that that's exactly what these kids need.
As new Christians, Vicki and I had the opportunity to serve at a camp in California called Camp Allendale. Camp Allendale has been serving kids who have been abused and neglected and have been through the system for over 40 years. It was through that experience that we were exposed to the model that Camp Hope's Haven has been designed after. And this therapeutic camp actually provides opportunity, as Vicki said, for healing. When we say therapeutic, we're talking about the heart. We're talking about how God heals the heart and how we as Christians can come together to contribute our time through volunteering to allow God to reach out and touch these kids as we love on them. Hope's Haven is a great opportunity for anyone that feels a tug to reach out and help to heal a broken heart. It's exciting. It's exciting to see them transformed throughout the weeks of camp. It's exciting to see them come back year after year and see the changes that have taken place as Christ and His Spirit works in their lives. And we have seen tremendous changes also in our lives and in the lives of those who come to mentor and serve as mentors or guides, which are junior mentors, if you will. We also have opportunities for staff, such as cooking help, photography, nurses, and people that come out and help with games. So there's lots of things that you can do. We also have opportunity to help prepare for camp, and we're really excited to be able to offer this opportunity for these children each summer, as well as opportunity for this mission that's right here in our backyard. So we welcome you to join the Hope's Haven family, and we hope to see you at camp. Take care.
Yes.
Well, I previously had done Hope's Haven 2 years in the past, and then I took a break because I was convinced God would call other very qualified people to camp at Hope's Haven. But God kept just speaking to me, and Shirley and Jesse spoke at our church, and I thought, boy, I hope people are listening to this because God is calling them to Hope's Haven. But through some experiences at school with some of my children in my classroom, I just really felt that God was calling me, and His prodding to my heart just never stopped. So I just answered that call, and I wasn't sure about it, but in faith I stepped out, and I'm so glad that I did.
I love working with those who are broken and bringing light and life to those places through joy, and camp's a perfect place for that because there's a lot of brokenness, but there's also a lot of joy that we get to bring into the lives around us.
So God called me to volunteer for camp. I heard about it through my church, and they came and did a presentation, and I was interested in it because I really enjoy working with kids. And when I heard it was like abused and neglected foster kids, I really had an interest in coming to work with them because I've never worked with them before, and I just felt like it would be like a really good opportunity to come and be able to like experience them and just be able to share, you know, what I've learned about Christ with them in their lives?
Well, my mom, she's sitting here next to me. She went a year before I did because I was too young, and she said she loved it. Like it was something she did that changed her life, and I just wanted to be a part of it, just to see what it was about.
God called me to help volunteer with camp. Just from knowing Shirley and Jesse from going to my home church, and they approached me about helping out with it, and I prayed about it, and I felt God was calling me to help out with it because I believe that the youth of our generation and stuff, they're really important. It's important to share God with them and to be involved with their lives, and I just felt God was calling me to help out, just to encourage them to be Christians and help them live a godly life.
Well, to be very honest, my biggest fear this year was returning as a mentor in my 50s. I thought, how on earth am I going to do this? I can't run as fast, I can't stay up as late, and I just have to tell you that we even had some mentors, at least one or two in their 60s, and they did great, and so did I in my 50s. There was nothing to be worried about. The camp experience was fine. Another thing is I played 2 games of Gold Rush, but not the third. See, they accommodate for people in their 50s.
My biggest fear was not knowing what to expect, I think, and not having really ever worked directly with foster care children, just wondering if there would be something that I would be not equipped for. But then the realization too that God just provides everything that you need, trusting that, and being around all the other people who were there.
So coming into my first year, my biggest fear was that I came in as a guide. So I had just turned 16, and my biggest fear was that I wouldn't be able to make the connection with the kids as maybe like the older mentors would. But after that year, I quickly realized that, the kids just wanted support and attention from you, and they just didn't really care how old you were. And I was able to make connections with a lot of the campers who were there that I'll be able to remember forever.
The biggest fear that I had for camp was I questioned my own spirituality. I wasn't quite sure if I was prepared to be able to answer some of the questions that some of the campers would have for me, but I was just able to, at camp we have a big family, and through that, if there's any questions, we help each other. But honestly, being around the kids is so comfortable, and their questions are just so genuine. There hasn't been anything that I haven't, by the grace of God, been able to answer, to the best of my ability. And I've been very comfortable with the relationships that I build with them.
My biggest fear was probably working with foster care kids who have been abused, because there's a huge stigma around how do you act around them. But in reality, they're just really regular kids, and they just want to have fun, and they just want to be loved. And so God just really showed me how to love really well during my first year and the years previous after that.
My biggest fear was not knowing what to say. Some of these kids have been through situations that I don't even want to think about, and being faced with answering questions about it or having to respond to something that you don't know how to respond to was definitely my biggest fear. But the Lord equipped me through my career as a teacher, and also just through the support of other staff at Hope's Haven. Nobody lets you go through anything by yourself. It's very supportive, and God was always there for me too, of course.
My biggest fear? I think just not being prepared. I know other people probably say that too. But I think that is we tend to disqualify ourselves a little bit because we think that, I'm not schooled enough in this, or I'm struggling with this, struggling with that. How can God use me when I haven't worked through this myself? Or a lot of misconceptions and lies I think that we tell ourselves, and it's really easy to believe those lies and let this, maybe next year I'll help with camp, or next year I'll step out in faith. But I think it's just choosing not to be afraid, even when you want to be afraid.
Camp has really been impactful in my life, and there's just a lot of joy you get from being around children and getting to love on them, and it was really life-changing, and it made me see the way God loves us in a new perspective of just how he loves on the orphans and how he's been using me to love on them. So it really changes the way you view God in that sense.
I tell them it's a lot of fun. It's exhausting, but so much fun. It's so worth the exhaustion that you get from it. I would say that there's so many different roles at camp. You can find your niche in anything. It doesn't matter whether you're really good at cooking, or are you good at just helping to set up, come help us set up a camp, or being a mentor, because I know people think initially about, I have to work with this child, and what if I break them, and oh no, but you don't have to even take that kind of a role if you don't want to. If you just want to be there, be a part of kitchen staff, and do that, because that's still a big help of camp. I mean, we love food, we love to eat at camp, and it's a big part too. So I mean, there's other roles that we need help with at camp, behind the scenes roles, that you don't necessarily have to be right there with the campers if you don't feel comfortable with that, or if you want to kind of watch from the sidelines first and then do that.
Just try it. I mean, if you're unsure as to whether or not you do well, just come and try it. There's plenty of people that can guide you and help you along. We have great staff, and they're just fantastic at making you feel involved, and just seeing the difference in the kids' lives, even just a few days, is just one significant reason to help out.
I would tell them that it is just such an awesome experience, getting to meet these amazing kids and see how God has worked in their life, and it just brings you back to God too. It's not just them, it's you too.
I would definitely tell them to do it. It's a big step, it's a big leap of faith, but I found it more rewarding for myself to be at camp, because like I was saying, with just with the questions that the kids ask and stuff, I mean, you don't really know that those Bible verses and stuff until you're in those situations, and it's just cool to see how God works in those moments to give you the words to say and the verses and stuff.
So if you were wondering about volunteering at camp, I would say that, praying about it first would be the biggest thing. Just ask God to help you with maybe what role you want to do. And I would just say that coming into it, the kids really just want you to be there, and being yourself is one of the biggest parts of you that you can bring to camp. And there's so many roles that you can fill, so you don't have to worry about, you could be a guide or a mentor or even help in the kitchen, but just, if you have experience with working with kids and just interacting with them and bringing what you've learned about Christ in your lives and just being able to share it with the campers who are there.
I would tell them that you absolutely should, and that it is a wonderful experience. I would just say, even if you enjoy working with kids at all, it's going to be a wonderful use of your time. I think it's definitely gratifying just to see the impact you can have on these kids just in the short time that you're there. Even the first day that you get there, these kids might be kind of quiet and not really don't know who you are, but by the end of the week, the time you're done with them, they'll absolutely love you and be begging you not to leave, because you've grown so close. And I think growing closer with the kids and all the other staff in general is really the most gratifying part of the whole experience.
I would first encourage them, first to pray about it, but to be able to look at it as an opportunity, not only to be able to use by God for the children's lives, but also, and this might sound selfish, but for what you get in return as well. I think once I started working for Hope's Haven or volunteering, my own spiritual life, I have to say, I just felt like I was drawing closer to God, because I had to depend more on Him as well. And so it's something that you can't really, any fear that you had turns into favor.
I love interacting with the kids and just getting to spend time playing with them, and just allowing them that chance to be a child and to have those childhood memories.
Well, my favorite part about camp is growing closer with the kids and all the staff in general. I think we do have a really wonderful staff of kind, caring people who really do love God and want to serve Him and do His will. And I think it's great that we are able to help these children through the tough things that might have happened in their past, and we're able to help them work through some of their problems that they had, and maybe give them some of the childhood that they might have missed out on while they were going through all the different problems that they've had in their life.
My favorite part of camp would have to be games. I like to play with the kids and just be able to run around with them and see all their energy, and they like to wear me out, so that's always good.
My favorite part of camp isn't any of the structured times. It's kind of those little 10-minute free blocks in between stuff. It's just really that chance you get to connect with the kids, whether you're playing a round of Gaga or basketball or just sitting on a porch swing talking. It's just where you really get to connect with them.
Wow, my favorite part of camp. I want to say the campfires, but there's something that goes along with the campfire time that makes it my favorite part of camp, and that's the interaction with the children. Because I did 2 weeks, I did middle school week and high school week. I loved them both separately, but both equally as much, because the interaction with the children is something you just don't forget, you don't get over. We've done mission trips and things, but this is no different than a mission trip. You go to serve, but you're blessed just with the interaction of the campers.
The games, getting to play the games with the kids.
I think what has impacted me the most is just how God reminds you about things in your own life through these kids who have been through so much. It kind of reminded me that sometimes I get a little negative, like, oh man, why do I have to go through this? And then you hear what these kids are going through, and it kind of just brings you back to, you know what, look at them. They are smiling and playing and having this great old life, even though life has thrown the worst at them. And it's just a good reminder for me that maybe my life isn't so bad when I get down in the dumps.
Definitely the children's lives and the blessings in my own life, things that I took for granted, not necessarily intentionally, but it's just a realization that life is really difficult for a lot of people.
I would say it's impacted my life with the Lord. There isn't a day that doesn't go by that I don't think about the campers that I've been with, the lives that I've impacted, hopefully, and I think that they've changed me more than I could ever help them. So that's pretty amazing.
The kids, definitely the kids. It almost always goes back to them. And just, it's funny how you start off so young. You see, there's some campers that have gone throughout the entire camp not series, but they've gone throughout all the different years of the camp, and you just see them grow from one year to the other, and they come back and it's like they never left. I love that.
Listening to the stories that the young people, the children bring of what's going on in their lives, how that's so different from what we consider normal, but you know, how that God has changed lives over the years through camp.
I think during testimony time, it's just a time where we sit around the campfire, and it's a serious time of just sharing our life stories and places we've been, the darker places and the lighter places. And it's impactful to hear the stories that they share, and it just really changes your view on life, because before you come to camp, you can hear about like statistics and it's only numbers. But once you're there, it's like these are real people, and it's impactful, and it just allows you to care more because you have names and faces that you can connect those numbers to.
I keep going back to it, but the kids have really impacted me. I'm just so encouraged by their love for the Lord and their perseverance. They're able to be to overcome all of the obstacles that they've had throughout their lives. It's incredible when I hear these kids' stories. I'm like, I don't know how you could have possibly dealt with that in your life, and here you are, and you're an amazing individual. And I think I admire them in that respect. And it's the kids. Just I really enjoy working with the kids and helping them as much as I can.
Well, I told you that I was drawn back recently after a time off. But now once I've been there, I can't imagine not being there next summer. I can't imagine not seeing the campers again when they hug you goodbye and say, I'll see you next summer. How do you look at them and go, well, if I'm not too busy, well, I hope to catch you somewhere again. The connections you make during that week, that's what really calls you back. And just to have a week away from the chaos of life and really be in nature, communing with these kids and the mentors, and it's just a really great experience that I've enjoyed tremendously.
Past campers, relationships you build from last year, the year before. It's nice to go back and see the same faces.
I would have to agree with Jonathan. Just the relationships that you build with the campers definitely draws you back. You're curious to see where their walk is in life and how they're doing. And it's also exciting to meet the new ones, you know, to be able to be a part of their lives and kind of build that family even bigger and the relationship. So, you just got to go back.
Just being a part of, the young people's lives.
I just love it. Like, I look forward to it every year. Like, in some ways, camp is like the highlight of my summer. And even though I kind of like try and push aside, like, okay, I'm only going to help with these 2 weeks. Like, that was our situation this year. We were like, oh, okay, we're help with the first week and the third week. We can't help with the middle week because of work and whatever. And then we got done with the first week and we're like, really feeling a tugging at our hearts, like, I'm so sad not going to be here this week. So then we tried to like rearrange our schedules, still be able to be there some of the time to lead worship. And so it would just always feel like tugging at our hearts just to come back, and because it's just always such a good time and just such a blessing and a good opportunity to be a blessing to others.
Just, I think initially, again, it was that desire to quote unquote help, but when you see the kids over time and even just the differences in their lives and how much the difference camp has made, just the difference Jesus Christ has made, when you see when you hear their stories and hear about their walk and their faith and everything, to me it's just such a privilege to be able to be a part of that, I would say.
Well, like I said, I like playing games, run around with the kids, and just being with them. And I love seeing kids from previous years coming back and just be able to continue to grow those relationships with them and to see how they grew over the year from last year. And again, just to see how God works again in a different aspect the next year. So I really just like coming back and seeing all the kids and all the friendly faces of the staff and everything.
For me, camp has changed me in the respect that it's kind of like going on a missions trip where you think you're going to go in and make a difference. And I think we all make a difference in serving God in the ways that we do. But it has shown me that really, again, God is the one who makes the difference. He just uses us as vessels. And to learn to just be more obedient and trust that He's sending me and guiding me where He wants me to go, even when I'm not comfortable or I don't feel qualified. So.
I think camp has made me more of a patient person, helping, how do I want to word this? Just being able to understand other people's viewpoints and see where they're coming from and understanding the hardships that they've gone through. It's really given me a greater love for the Lord too, by seeing the mysterious ways that He does work through these children's lives and through my own life in general. I never would have known how to interact with these kids, but somehow I find that when I'm there, I do what is right and the right thing to do, and I feel the Spirit working through me in that way, and I think that's definitely wonderful.
I mean, just seeing God work so much, it's helped me build my faith in God, seeing how He works and how He's moving, on a day-to-day aspect. You don't always necessarily see, how God's working sometimes just because busyness of life and stuff. But when you help with camp and you're in that confined area with the kids and stuff, you see it way more because it's right there, it's right in front of you. And I think just helping with camp has definitely helped my faith in God to grow. And I think I take more from camp, I think, home with me than the kids probably do. and that's why I love helping with camp.
Like I said before, camp has really changed me just by reminding me the blessings that the Lord has given me, and that sometimes trials aren't as bad as they seem.
Well, it's made me more patient, as David said. I find that I can just handle some situations better than what I did before I came to camp, if that makes any sense. Like, you don't get as frazzled as easily in some ways, or if there are other kids around, like, you know how to talk to them better, you know, in youth group or in whatever other situations. You just kind of have a better knowledge, I guess, of how kids think in some ways, because you worked with them at camp and you were immersed with them for weeks in the summer that, you know, some people are kind of getting all like freaked out about these kids doing this or that, and you're kind of like, we had worse at camp. You know, like, we had situations that were difficult at camp too, and you just kind of roll with it and just do your best to be loving to them anyways and see them love you in return, and it's just really good.
Camp has changed me in so many different ways. It's hard to just pinpoint one, but I can tell you that I don't feel the sense of hopelessness that I used to, because when you see the hope that those children have in their eyes when they leave camp, that 1 week is devoted for them, and they take that week with them the other 360 days a year, and I can apply that to my everyday life. It's a hands-on experience that I'm able to take home to my children, to my community, and that's what we're here for. We're here to serve. So that's how it's changed my life. I've gotten to give a hands-on experience, and there's nowhere else I'd rather be.
It's given me a greater awareness of children that are hurting, and the various things that they're going through neglect or abuse. It's been a blessing to be able to serve with my family members at camp. I've got 2 children that have been volunteering as well, and they just really, it's neat to be able to minister with my children. So if you think about doing something as a family, this is a good spot for you.
I don't know. I guess getting all the kids, they just think it's the coolest thing that my mom has her son, and they get to see us and how close we are and how good of a relationship we have.
My favorite part about working with my sons is, for that week, we smile at each other a lot because you have to. And also, just, you know, a lot of the kids there don't have that family. Some of them do. Some of them, you know, live in different home settings, foster families, adoptive families. But it's really neat just to be able to be there and show my kids as well that we are a network, we are a team, we work together, and we have values, morals, and boundaries. To be able to pass that on in a group setting and be able to receive and, you know, show each other that uniformity as we walk with the Lord is truly a genuine experience that I can't give my kids when we're at home. The role models that are given to my kids there as well is something that, you know, there again, it's a great model for all of us to live by. So the week at camp is like a perfect bubble. I love it.